Thanks to the support as a channel member, Ant Chipman. Well, the league might have been a complete disaster this year, and we're pretty much guaranteed a boring old mid-table finish, but we have made it through to the semi-final of the FA Trophy. If we beat our rivals Kidderminster over 2 legs today, we get to go back to Wembley for a second year in a row. And to me, that just about makes it all okay. Hello and welcome to part 39 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have both legs of the FA Trophy semi-final against Kidderminster. Since you were last with me, we certainly didn't get back in any kind of promotion race. Things carried on being miserable. We actually played a 4-3-3 Route 1 system for 5 games or so. Didn't really get anywhere. Ended up just binning it off, going back to the 4-2-3-1. That is the same one we've been using all the way through that we occasionally go back to. Yeah, the one that wasn't working at all here. We've brought it back and it has turned us around a little bit. Last 4 games in all competitions have been wins, including putting 5 goals past Spennymoor, 3 consecutive wins in the league. I mean, the league is teasing us a little bit because it is still mathematically possible for us to get into those playoffs. But when we're 8 points behind with 3 games to go, I am not going to stress myself out and worry about that. We're obviously not getting into the playoffs, but we are going to finish fairly comfortably in the top half of the table, which means we have met all of the club vision goals for this year, apart from the FA Cup. But we sold a player to make the money we would have got from the FA Cup. So we're scoring from set pieces again. We're playing a high-tempo pressing game again. We're well within the wage budget, and we've finished mid-table, which is what the board were looking for. So as a result of all of that, they have not only sent me on my Continental Pro course, they have also, in fact, look, there you go, Continental Pro course, but they've also given me another new contract. I'm now earning £1,000 a week as manager of Leamington, which does keep me under contract for another 2 years beyond the end of this one. Now, I know a lot of people in the comments have been saying about these contract renewals that if I really want to leave, let my contract run down, and it's more likely for clubs to come into me because they're not going to have to pay £70,000 to get me out of my contract. It might be one of the reasons why Walsall, for example, decided to go with another option. My counterpoint to that, when we're engaging full realism mode, as we do in this save, is my contract had 3 months left to run. It's not like I'm a gazillionaire in this universe. I'm earning good money. I mean, I'm now on £52,000 a year. It's a nice salary, but it's not the kind of salary where you earn that for 5 years and then it doesn't matter if you don't work for 6 months. I'm not going to let my contract run down and risk being out of work when there's a contract offer on the table that includes a pay rise and 2 years worth of security. So as far as I'm concerned, we are continuing to make progress at Leamington. We're in a much stronger position than we were 5 years ago when I took over. We were relegation favourites from the National League North when I took over. We're now a comfortable mid-table National League side who potentially could be about to go to Wembley for the second year in a row. I'll have that 2-year contract, thank you very much. That seems completely reasonable. So I'm still not against moving, but I'm no longer looking. I don't know what's available. I say I'm no longer looking as I go and have a little look. I mean, if Portsmouth want to come in for me, I'll definitely talk to Portsmouth, but I'm not going to apply for it. I'm not that desperate to go. We saw with Walsall last summer that Emma Hayes, who got the job ahead of me, she was only earning £1,200 a week. That's barely any more than I'm on at Leamington now. I don't think I'd move for that kind of money because I've got the security here where I've effectively got a job for life at this club. They ain't sacking me anytime soon. So as long as they keep giving me new contracts and more money, I'm going to keep signing those new contracts and taking the extra money. I'm sure a big club will come along at some point. But until then, let's go and try and win the FA Trophy. And to help us on our way to trying to win the FA Trophy, we have got a couple of new faces at the club. You can see we've got the trialists are in at the moment, the Premier League trialists. So every single one of them that we've made offers to, they're all on a non-contract basis, similar to what we did with the majority of them last summer. We'll bring them in on non-contract, have a proper look at them over the summer, and then the ones that we keep will get a proper contract. The ones that we don't want to keep, we'll probably just leave lying around and not playing, and they'll go off to Hull at some point, like whoever that was. Chris Armstrong did. when I just forgot that he existed. But you can see there, we've also let Olcock go since the last episode. He's gone to Weldstone on a 3 transfer. And we have brought in 2 more players. I think Danny Curtis is someone we were on the verge of bringing in the last episode. We did bring him in the end, but he then got injured. So he's barely played for us. Only played 3 league games. He had quite a long-term injury almost immediately upon arriving. He got the abdominal strain that kept him out for a month. It was originally supposed to keep him out for 6 to 8 weeks. So he's healed very quickly. But he's come in. And also Ty Sodja has come in as well, a 22-year-old former Nigerian under-20 international striker. He's in on loan for the rest of the season from Hull. We are paying his wages, but he looks like a decent player. He came in and scored 2 goals off the bench on his debut, and I thought I had a new superstar on my hands. He hasn't actually scored since then, but, you know, we'll give him time. We'll see. It's not as if we're starting him. We just brought him in as another goal-scoring option. So without further ado, let's get into the FA Trophy semi-final against rivals Kidderminster, who... Are they even in this league? Are they in the league below? Kidderminster are mid-table in the National League North. This should be a comfortable route through to Wembley. Famous last words. Awesome. So this is the team that we're putting out there for our home leg at Butts Park. I don't know why it's a 3:15 kickoff rather than a 3 o'clock kickoff. That might be the weirdest kickoff time I've ever seen. But this is the side. We've got Blair in goal, a back 4 of McFadden, Price, Roberts and Curtis, Johnson and Magoma in midfield, Petrovic, Makanev and Andrucci as attacking midfield 3, and then Knowles up front. Andrucci, we have played a little bit in these wide areas recently. I think it's important to have him in and around the team because he's such a goal threat. But I don't know, he just doesn't seem to be grabbing the goals when playing up front this season. At least he's in there. He's around the place, which is nice. And Petrovic is a very good example of one of those players we brought in on a non-contract last summer. And then when we decided we wanted him as part of the squad, gave him a proper contract until the end of the season. He'll probably get another one as well because he's still showing as 5-star potential and still only 18 years old. So expect to see more of Vladimir Petrovic next season, assuming we can tie him down to a new deal. Right, let's just get into the match. We really want to go back to Wembley. We feel like we've got some unfinished business there. You know, my record in playoffs over the last year or so of Football Manager have been horrific. So perhaps what we need to allow us to break the playoff curse is to get ourselves to Wembley and win a match there in something that's not the playoffs, so that when we are next there in the playoffs, we've got a little bit more of a chance. Maybe. And there's nearly 4,000 people inside Butts Park for this game, which is, I mean, that's a lot of people. Considering the quarterfinal of the FA Trophy only had about 700 people in attendance, people really haven't cared about this competition until now. But I think the combination of it being a semi-final with a place at Wembley at stake and it being our only games against rivals Kidderminster this season, the fans are out in force. This is all we've got left this year. We're not getting promoted. We're not getting relegated. We'd really like to at least get back to Wembley. Watch the final not be at Wembley now. I'm assuming the FA Trophy final's at Wembley. It'd be unreasonable for it not to be. Where else is it going to be? If the playoff final's there, the FA Trophy final should be there too. Right, we've had a couple of good chances in the opening half an hour or so of this game. Little bit alarming that we've not taken them. Our XG showing major dominance on our part. But there's always the worry when you dominate and then don't score. I mean, it's been the story of our last 18 months or so. And I feel like we do need to grab a goal before half-time. Andrucci is in, and I think Knowles has been fouled there, hasn't he? Apparently not. Makanev with the shot from the edge there. In fact, the ref is now... Oh, it's not a penalty. He's called it back for the free kick. It's going to be Johnson to take. I think he has scored one of these already this season. Boy, he was pretty close for that one as well. And it ends up going behind for a corner, and this would be a nice little opportunity to open the scoring. Petrovic with the in-swinger, looking for that near post, but the Kidderminster defender is there to head clear. I think that's probably going to be the end of the highlight. It is, although there is one more we're squeezing in before half-time. Knowles trying to play Makanev in, and he has been absolutely clattered. I think that's a harsh red card. But I guess you could probably argue McAneff was through on goal, but he was nowhere near it. And then from an unrelated free kick, Magoma has scored an absolute freak of a goal. The Kidderminster fans are going to be furious with what's happened in the last 60 seconds or so of this game. A harsh red card, and then an utterly absurd piece of goalkeeping allows that free kick to go all the way in from Magoma, and we're 1-0 up against 10 men Kidderminster at half-time. I mean, we've done some bottling at various points of this series so far. I think from this position, if we don't end up in the FA Trophy final, it's got to be considered the king of the bottle jobs. Petrovic with the in-swinger. Price is there, and he can't keep his head down. How many times have we seen over the last year and a half or so, 2 years that Price has been at the club? How many times have we seen him rattle that crossbar? He's got to learn to head the ball downwards a little bit. I know there's a lot of him. I know he's a big boy. Just stop heading the ball straight. Just angle it down slightly, and you'd be a 15-goal a season player. Right, I don't know who that is who's through. It's Petrovic who threw on goal. And we are getting in behind the defensive line a lot today, but still only 1-0 up. We need to just stick a few more goals in. Our XG is ridiculous for this match. Petrovic finds Price again, and I think we've won a penalty. Have we got this referee in our pocket or something here? Because there's shenanigans afoot today, it seems. Our fans are loving it behind that goal. And McAneff to make it 2-0, and he does. Leamington 2, Kidderminster 0, 20 minutes or so to go in this game. We do still have a second leg to come. It's not a one-legged affair, so we've got to go and do it all again at their place. But at the moment, we are looking pretty strong. We're in a good position for making it through to that final, and that's what we all want. We want something nice to end what has been a rotten old season. And I think it'd be exactly what we need just to sort our heads out a little bit going into next year. And we don't have a centre-back on the bench, which seems like a little bit of an oversight. We'll bring Gilks on. I mean, it's interesting, really, that Gilks, who we've sold for £150,000, still not nailed on as a starter on either the left wing or left midfield or left back. We've got three very good, or four, I guess, if you include Petrovic. You've got Petrovic and McFadden, who very much have their own positions. And then you've got Norris and Gilks, who can both play in either of them. And I still can't really separate the four of them. So Gilks just plays when he's fit and the others aren't. I don't think there's anything that necessarily marks him out as a player who's going to be League One standard in a year or two's time. So I suspect if we decide we want him, we'll probably be able to get him on loan again next year. We might even be able to do a good old Chapman special, because he's only under contract with Coventry until the end of next season. If we can get him on loan again for nothing next year, there's always the opportunity of bringing him back on a free and just taking that £150,000 injection from our local football league club and having a free player for a year and a half, and then he just re-signs for us permanently. That would be the perfect scenario, assuming he is going to be as good as our coaches think he's going to be. If he's going to end up League One quality, it'd be quite nice to just bring him up the leagues with us. Listen to me talking as if I'm not going to jump at the first opportunity. I'm trying to angle my way into Coventry. I think that'd be some nice career progression for the local Leamington manager. Been there for a long time now. Coventry feels like a logical next step, but what we really need is probably one more promotion for us, and maybe a relegation for them. If we're a mid-table League 2 team and Coventry are a mid-table League 1 team, then it feels like a step up I could make. And it's geographically sensible as well. I wouldn't even have to move house. Oh, Petrovic has made it 3-0. It's his first ever goal for the club. And we are finally getting some goals on the board today when we are dominating. You got to do this. When they're down to 10 men, you got to grab the goals and make sure we've got a little bit of a cushion for that second leg, because we know how pathetic we can be when we decide we're going to be pathetic. So as many goals as we can take to their place, please and thank you. Look at those match stats. We are, if there was ever any doubt about whether or not we were better than Kidderminster these days, I mean, we're a full division above them. They're mid-table in the one below, we're mid-table in, and you can see the step up in quality between the two leagues, because we're absolutely thumping them. It should be 4 or 5, and maybe it will be yet. Price brings the ball down nicely. A couple of minutes left in this game. McKiernan playing it forward to Petrovic. If we could grab one more, I would almost tempt fate and say that was job done, and we just need to not mess up in the second leg. But I've played Football Manager before. I know it won't quite be that simple. but we don't grab the second one there. I'd rarely seen an XG as high as the XG we've picked up in this game. But a 3-0 win is a 3-0 win. We absolutely will take it. And fingers crossed, not mess things up in the away leg, which we'll play in a second. I've just got to bring in all these youngsters first and play a league game. But not worrying about the league. The game is not going to trick me into thinking we've got a chance in the league. Oh, this game has got me believing it might just be possible. We thumped Grimsby 4-1, absolutely smashed them. And this is what the league table looks like with 2 games left to go. We are 6 points behind Scunthorpe. To be fair, their goal difference is so much better than ours. It probably isn't possible, but we play Notts County next. We could end up finishing 8th and missing out on goal difference. I'm still fairly sure the league, that's a job for next year. Today is about getting into the final of the FA Trophy, and this is the team that we're going to put out there to do it. We're not thinking about the league at all. We're going with Blair in goal, a back four of McFadden, Williams, Price and Curtis, Dixon, Bonner and Magoma in midfield, and then Norris, McAneff and Okoflex behind Andrucci up front. It's once again quite a heavily rotated side, not because we think the job is done and we can rotate massively, but because we played the first team against Grimsby, because I'm an idiot who still believes, and we are 3-0 up, and we are playing against a team from the league below. So I'm kind of looking at the fact we've got Notts County and Fylde coming up, who are both in the playoffs already. Oh, I've got to not. If I blow this because I'm thinking about that, that will be very frustrating for everyone involved, I'm sure. But surely the form we're in now, we're not messing this up, are we? Touch wood. We're not messing this up, surely. I tell you what, we've been so good in these last 5 or 6 matches. It does make me wonder where these performances were earlier in the season. The only tweak I've done to the system is we've changed the ball-winning midfielder in midfield to a deep-lying playmaker, and it seems to have changed everything. All of a sudden, the whole team is playing well. Maybe we just needed a playmaker. We've not really had a playmaker ever, really. Throughout the series so far, we've always... I kind of figured playmakers were a bit too fancy for non-league. It's kind of... My view is kind of, well, you can have a couple of wingers or you can have a playmaker. You can't really have the luxury of having both in a non-league team. Are you getting the ball out wide and crossing it, or are you getting a playmaker to create stuff for you? Little did I know, it's possible to have both. And we're doing both, and it seems to be working at the moment. But once again, we're obviously going to be heading into a transfer special in a couple of days' time. And I need to do a good one. We need to go up this year. Or next year, not this. Oh, Williams, is it? That's the 7th goal of the season. I told you, he is the threat from the corners now, and that's 1-0 on the night, 4-0 now on aggregate. We are in the final. I hope it's at Wembley, because I would like to go back and exorcise the demons of Wembley. See, at the moment I announce we're there, the game is like, are you sure? Well, there you go. Maybe we are sure. It's disallowed because their guy is well offside. Look, I'm glad to see it's not just us who are constantly and inexplicably offside from free kicks, because it is a ridiculous thing to be. But it is nearly 20, just over 20 minutes to go. And Kidderminster, bless them, are giving it a go, but we're just playing very well. Andrucci playing it back to Dixon Bonner, and now ball back over the top to Andrucci. And it's a lovely finish from him. 11 goals now for the season for Andrucci. The dog and the doorbell are celebrating the fact that we're off to Wembley. Everything's kicking off around here. I should probably pause and figure out what's going on. Worry not. Parcel delivery. You know, Christmas shopping and all that. Right. Shouldn't detract from the fact that we're hopefully on our way to Wembley. Williams is tired. He can come off. Rhodes can come on and play centre-back for us. McFadden has picked up a knock, so Gilks can come on for him. 2 easy changes early on. And then who have we got on the bench? Knowles, Johnson, McKiernan. I think we'll just take off Norris, bring on McKiernan on that side. Again, another fairly easy substitution to make. There are some tired legs out there. Going back to this high-tempo system, I think What I have been slowly but surely figuring out, it's only taken me 5 years. Bearing in mind Sports Interactive told us this in advance. It probably shouldn't have taken me 5 seasons, but with this 4-2-3 one, what I'm noticing is every time we switch to it, we're great for 6 or 8 games, and then it all starts to go wrong inexplicably. I think that's probably the point where the tiredness catches up with the part-time team that I'm managing. And what we maybe need, I don't know if I'm smart enough to come up with this or if I just need to try and bludgeon my way through by just continuing to do it and hoping our players get so good it doesn't matter. What we maybe need is for the midweek games, a lower tempo tactic and sacrifice some of the midweek games to make sure we never slump into terrible form by losing 3 on the bounce because we've got a really rotated team that are all shattered. But like I say, I mean, those of you who've been watching for a long time know I'm probably not the man to come up with a genius plan like that. So I think we're probably just going to hope that we bring in a few more Armani Gilkses this summer and end up with a bunch of players who are good enough for League One, good enough for the Championship eventually, and we just get so good that we've got a squad of 25 players who are all good enough to be playing and we can rotate properly. Because the last 2 years, we've gone into the seasons with really quite small squads, but we're also well under our wage budget. And maybe it's time for us to just max out that wage budget and get a slightly bigger squad for this coming season. Maybe that's the plan. 3-0 now, though. 3-0 on the night, 6-0 on aggregate. We're definitely in the final. We will check in before we go just to make sure that I'm going to be so disappointed if the final's not at Wembley. Like I say, I'm pretty sure it is. Ocoflex with the cross. It's cleared. Kidderminster, they attempted to put up a good fight, but we were just too good for them. That's an excellent performance. 2 excellent performances, really. And it is Wembley. We have booked a Wembley place. Who are we playing in the final? How do we find out who we're playing? It probably said in that previous message. It should be on the schedule, actually, to tell us who we're playing. We are playing Aldershot, who are below us in the league. We have got a chance here, folks. So that is going to be tomorrow. The result of the Notts County game and other games around us will dictate whether that's the only game in tomorrow's episode or whether I show you the final day and potential shenanigans there, as well as an FA Trophy final. I mean, theoretically, if we get shenanigans, we might have the playoffs before the FA Trophy, because looking at that, there's an entire month's gap between the end of the league season and the FA Trophy final. I'm not quite sure how I keep these boys fit for a month, but we'll try and figure that out. But I'm certain. Oh, do I have to show you these league games? It's not going to happen, is it? Look at the goal difference. I've got to show you the league games. Football Manager's a ridiculous game. You never know when you're going to backdoor Kev it. I'll show you the league games and then we'll do the FA Trophy the next day. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much for watching.